Father's Day is over, which bittersweet.
Yes.
On the one hand, nobody is going to celebrate you for 364 more days. It's going to be exactly that long before anyone acknowledges you again. On the other hand, we can all just get on with our lives because sometimes Father's Day can be a bit much. And it turns out you get stuck at the grill all day doing all the work anyway. But we're going to talk about some ideas that we have, some recipes that we have that is going to keep your kids happy, keep you happy, make dinner time a lot easier to manage today on the Dad Pod. What is up, everybody? This is the Dad Pod. He's Clint. I'm Daniel. We're dads.
Yes.
And happy Father's Day to you. Father's Day a couple days ago on Sunday. We happen to be recording this on that day. So, Clint, you do anything fun for Father's Day?
Did that family walk down to Dairy Queen.
Ooh.
Did that ice cream cone.
Real classy Father's Day.
Real classy, because the little one sat on a lap and ate that ice cream, and it was hot, and the ice cream wound up all over.
You love
my
that.
legs.
It
was fantastic.
Love that.
Yes, the grill is done. The cleanup is over. You're about to hit the sack. Maybe you took our previous Dad Pod advice and found yourself a nice whiskey to indulge in.
That would have been ideal for you.
To do that.
Would have been great.
Now we get to talk about recipes. Easy, simple recipes that you can help with your kids. It's going to be fun for the kids. They're going to love it. They're going to enjoy it quite a bit. I promise you. We're going to give you ways to connect, because one of the main things, if you have read any single book about family whatsoever, you know that everybody will say the most important room in the house is the kitchen. It doesn't have to be true. It just says it somewhere in the book.
If you say it enough times, it becomes true, I believe.
True. Well, I know
it feels true to me, Clint, and so
I can't look, Dan. I'm not taking away your truth. You keep your truth. Okay.
How dare you?
How dare I? But the kitchen is very important in the life of a family, life with your kids. And dads, please, we're begging you. Daniel and I are big fans of preparing food, chefs. We listen to other podcasts. We watch YouTube stuff. We enjoy cooking. We enjoy cooking for our families, with our families. And it's something that we want you to enjoy as well, because it's a way to connect with your children, give them what they want, and has memories. We've talked about it before with the Mother's Day pod. Get your significant other or your mom a candle, because scent is a very, very important thing. The aroma of cooking wafting from your kitchen will elicit a memory for your children. Every time they come home, even if it's bad food, even if it's not even good food, they will remember the relationship with you and how important it is, and it'll be fun. So we got 3 recipes.
So think about cooking, though, Clint, if I could.
Please.
And the reason why this episode is so important is because a lot of the reason that a lot of dads don't cook, don't want to cook, don't want to be involved in the cooking, is because it's overwhelming. Because you got a house full of people and everybody likes different stuff, and nobody wants to eat the same things, and nobody ever seems happy, and there's just no good ideas, and you only know how to make 3 different things, and they're all based around a macaroni noodle. And so
macaroni.
And so you don't feel equipped, you don't feel versatile enough to really do fun things like this with your kids. If you're going to stay sane as a dad, and you're going to be preparing meals for your family as a dad, you need to have some go-tos. It doesn't mean that you don't experiment. It doesn't mean that you don't watch a cooking video on YouTube or whatever, get inspired, and then go spend like $78 at the grocery store buying every single ingredient because you didn't have any of them in your pantry for that one recipe. You do that sometimes.
Sure.
But you got to have some things in your back pocket. In my family, we're big on ritualistic type of meal planning, meaning every Friday we do this. Every Tuesday we do this. Every Sunday we do this. It's those types of routines, those things that you can stick in your back pocket, those recipes that can be your go-tos. And so we got 3 recipes here for you. They're not going to be the most elaborate, fancy, knock your socks off dinners that anyone's ever had. But these are things to stick in your back pocket. Maybe you make them a regular staple in your routine. These are things that are going to, number one, make your kids happy, make them eat. Number two, make you happy. If you have a significant other, make them happy. But number three, build memories and create opportunities for you to share experiences with your kids. So, recipe number one, meal number one, Clint, what is it?
I'm going meal number one. It's going to be a general feel that I'm going to give you subcategories of, because it's going to be Taco Bell clone, Daniel, is what I'm going with.
Ooh.
I'm going Taco Bell clone. Taco Bell has no sponsorship with this podcast. They should. We would love that. But
Taco Bell, reach out to us.
Get your
God knows I've spent enough money at your establishment. You could just kick a little bit back.
So we're going to do three clones, one of which is not going to be too close to the clone, but I'm going to give you the same ingredients all the way throughout for the most part.
Taco Bell only has 6 ingredients in the restaurant. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but that's the fact.
Okay, so we're going to go ground beef or chicken, and ground beef is going to be very important for 2 of them. You choose your meat. However, we're going to go hard tortilla. Either you can fry it at home, or you can get a corn tortilla and keep it there. And soft flour tortillas, soft. They need to be buttery soft. Don't do the Trader Joe's tortillas. Those are too fancy and too nice. They're too rigid. They're not going to do you any good.
If you keep them in the fridge, put them in the microwave. Please soften that tortilla.
You have to do that. As well as simple ingredients like garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, refried beans, and then some sort of sauce. The first one is this. It is the Enchilada is back at Taco Bell. I grew up on the Enchilada in my life. I love the Enchilada. It is fantastic. It is back at Taco Bell now. I went out day one and got one, Daniel. It was needed.
Just a grown man.
We're going to clone the Enchilada. We're going to clone the Enchilada. Here's what you do. It's very, very simple. You put olive oil or butter in the pan, whatever you want to do. Garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and if your kids like kick, cayenne or red pepper, whatever they do, or cumin, just get that flavor. You're going to saute, brown up some beef or some chicken, up to you. Beef is preferred. Ground beef, get that going. You're going to take a can of refried beans, get it heated, either put it in the bowl, get a microwave, put it on the stovetop. And you're going to take that soft, warmed up tortilla. You're going to lay down a little groundwork of the refried beans, put a little trail of the ground beef, roll that up, get some enchilada sauce, pour it on top, shredded cheese on top.
This is
a couple
prepackaged enchilada sauce. You don't have to make this stuff.
It's the easiest thing in the world. And if you go to Trader Joe's, I mapped this out, $2.12 per enchilada if you get all this stuff from Trader Joe's.
This man giving you price per enchilada.
And then put it into the oven or the broiler, get it out, do that. If your kid does not like enchilada sauce or olives, just do a little, it's now just a wrap up. You got beans and you got meat, put the cheese in there. It's a little wrap up for my second.
Put a little cheese on top, put it under the broiler. You get a little char on that.
Second one, queso dip. If you don't have queso dip's a staple, and it's very, very simple. Butter, garlic, onion powder, same exact things. Evaporated milk. You can get the sweetened or the unsweetened. Depends on what you want in that. Throw that whole can in there. Get a couple handfuls of cheese. Throw the cheese in there. Don't forget about oh my gosh, Daniel, the corn. A tablespoon of not corn flour.
Cornstarch?
Thank you. Cornstarch. My gosh, took me forever there. A tablespoon of cornstarch. Throw it all in there. Melt it up. It's easy. It's simple. They dip chips in it all time long. Nachos are very, very simple. If you want to fancy it up for you and your significant other, maybe get some green chilies. Put those in there after the fact because the kids won't like it. Make 2 separate bowls. Very, very simple queso dip. And then the third one is a crunch wrap. You get that same thing. Ooh. Beans, so get a flour tortilla, beans, ground beef, and then you put that, if you get lettuce or tomatoes, if you want some vegetables in there, some hot sauce, and then you put that hard tortilla, corn tortilla that's fried up, and then you fold it over and you put it in a pan and you grill both sides, and it's now Crunchwrap Supreme. It's all the same things, but they feel fun because it's from Taco Bell and you get to make it at home, and it's different and it's a little bit exotic. It's not that fancy, but they love it. They get a kick out of it. Those are the 3 from Taco Bell clone. Daniel,
I love it. I love it. You can also, if you want to, Taco Bell doesn't serve this, but I have no idea why they don't. If you make nachos with nacho cheese Doritos as the chips, your kids will freak out. Like if your kids like Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell, which Of course they do. Why
Of
would
course
they
they do.
not? Unless
They're children.
you're a decent human being and don't feed your kids Taco Bell, which case can't relate. Sorry. Yeah, just make some nachos with. All right, I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna give you a specific recipe. I will give you some options. I will give you some ideas. But to me, the number one family memory making meal is make your own pizza night.
There you go.
Because it does not matter how many people are in your family. You've got one kid, you've got 20 kids. It doesn't matter. Everyone makes their own pizza, which means no one has to share with their sibling. No one has to haggle over toppings. No one has to be shortchanged or get the pizza that they don't like. Everyone gets to make their own. You set out a bunch of stuff on the table.
Buffet
And then you've got two options, okay? Number one is, and this is my preferred option, you make your own pizza dough. Pizza dough is the easiest bread in the world to make. There is no easier bread item to construct well and easily other than pizza dough. It is flour and yeast and water and salt and a little olive oil, and that is literally all that goes in there. Find an easy pizza dough recipe, make it, get good at it, and then you chop it up into little dough balls. You let your kids hammer out the dough. You let them flatten out the pizza. You let them make their own. If it's 2.5 inches thick, it's 2.5 inches thick. That whatever they want. If they want it stretched so thin that there's a big hole in the middle of it, then you let them stretch it so thin there's a big hole in the middle of it. I give each of my kids a little sheet of parchment paper. I cover it in olive oil. They make their dough. They flatten it out on the little sheet of paper, and then I just slide them onto little baking sheets, and I put them in the oven. You get tomato sauce. You make your own pizza sauce using tomato sauce, tomato paste, Italian seasoning. I like to put a little honey in there. If you like a little spice, you put a little cayenne pepper in there. You put a lot of salt in there. And that's pizza sauce. Or you just get a can of crushed tomatoes and you scoop them out and you put them on the pizza dough. And guess what? That's also pizza sauce. So you get a little Italian seasoning. You get a little dried basil. You get a little oregano. You sprinkle all that on there. Make sure you put oil and salt on the dough before you put any toppings on. Before you want to salt that dough. It just has a base layer. And then, I mean, the world is your oyster. You want to make ground beef, taco pizza, hamburger pizza. Go for it. You want to grill up some chicken, put on a pizza. That's great too. You want to buy a jar of Alfredo sauce to make pizzas with. That's fantastic. You buy pepperonis. You cook up some Italian sausage. You fry up some bacon. You've got green peppers, jalapenos. You chop up some olives. You cut up an onion. You've got an endless amount of possibilities. Yes. You give your kids as many or as few options as you want. You put out a giant bowl of mozzarella cheese because everybody's going to use a bunch of that.
Everybody.
And then you let everybody go to town. You let everybody make their own pizza. You let everybody learn what they like and what they don't like. And you get to have a lot of fun. I mean, my wife, who's much more fun than I am, whenever we do this, and we do it almost every single week, whenever we do this, she puts on like the very stereotypical traditional Italian restaurant music. She puts that on the Sonos speakers all over the house, and she blares it. She turns it up to 11, and everybody's laughing and making their pizza and having a great time. It's easy. It is not, you can make it as cheap or as expensive as you want, depending on what toppings you offer. Again, literally, you could buy a bag of mozzarella cheese, a thing of Hormel pepperonis, and a can of crushed tomatoes, and your kids will have a great time making pizzas. That's like 19 cents per pizza. Or you can make it as fancy and as expensive as you want as well. But the most important part is going to be an experience just as much as it's going to be a delicious food item that you consume.
That's right.
And then you want to take it up a notch. Then you take all those homemade pizzas, you go into the den, and you pick a movie, and everybody watches a movie, and you eat pizza, and bada bing, bada boom.
You've just described Friday night. at my
It's
house.
called Friday night, and that's what you do
This is
on it.
when you do it. This is what you do. Please rinse, repeat. I'm going to give you one that I know my boy Daniel and I both love. This is a kind of a joint recipe. So, Daniel, if you feel any need, jump on in here. But this is what we call, it's very specific. It's seasonality to it. But again, bringing back that hint of knowledge of season in your house or what you want to do. This is called the fall stew. Okay. So
Soup Saturday is what we
Soup-
call it in our
Soup
house.
Saturdays. There you go. Here's my stew that I have. Again, simplest recipes in the world went out. Now, this one I do step it up a little bit. You get a big pot, whatever you want. You put olive oil in there. You get some garlic. And I do, in fact, get the garlic cloves. I crush them. I mince them, get the whole thing going, put that in there. I do, in fact, also get the onion, a little yellow onion, throw that in there as well. Nice little base, salt and pepper, and then whatever spices. Sometimes if I get a little fancy, put some dill in there just to add a little bit of sweetness to it, a little bit of difference in there. Put some mustard, maybe possibly as well, oregano, basil, whatever you want. Put that in there. Then you're going to get the sausage, Daniel. This is where our stool goes. I don't know where your stew goes, your soup goes. You do the sausage as well. Do you chicken? What do you do?
We've got kind of two base layers, but one of them is very heavy on the Italian sausage.
Italian sausage. You cut that outside sheathing, you put it all in there, you brown it, get it nice and beautiful. Nice little base. So now you got that aroma going. Now that sausage is filling the air with the onion, with the garlic, with the olive oil, with the spices, whatever you put into it. And then you're going to want to get some carrots. I chop up the carrots. Kale is on hand as well. That's going to come in later, but some carrots, very, very important for us. And then if you like potatoes, put some potatoes in here, or my variation on this is noodles. Sometimes I read the kids. If they don't want potatoes, then I go noodles a little bit later, and I don't brown anything right now, but typically it is carrots and potatoes put in there. And this is a little secret sauce, cinnamon. I put cinnamon here at this point, or brown sugar. Get that sweetness after the fact. That Italian sausage is going to love that. It's going to go great with it. It's going to, again, that smell is going to hit the house. And then chicken broth. Fill it up. Now you got brown sausage, you got the vegetables, you got them, and you bring it to a boil, and then you simmer it, and then you crack the lid, and you leave it open.
Everybody gets to know each other in the pot.
It's a whole stew going. When you're about ready to serve up, you take that kale by the bunches, you throw it in there, wilt it just a little bit to everything. You don't want it too wilted over the top. And you're also going to want some heavy cream in
You put
there.
the heavy cream right in.
You got to get that heavy cream going in there. So after the boil, after it gets going, and this is all to your liking. We're not giving you measurements on this because it's to the eye, it's to the taste. Heavy cream in there to thicken it up a bit. And then you just keep that on all day. And you tell people in the fall on Saturdays, go get some stew. Get up there, get the ladle, put it in a bowl, and eat whatever you want. Sourdough bread on hand, big thing. The kids can help with it. It's very simple. My kids love helping me with this. They're with me, and I start it right after breakfast. We do breakfast, and then I start this immediately so it can simmer all day long and fill the entire house.
It's the beauty of something like this is that it's an all-day eating experience.
Right.
The big loaf of bread is important. You don't have to make your own bread. You just go to the grocery store, get a giant thing of bread. Everybody can tear off a little bit of bread, get a bowl, refill as they want throughout the day. It's a great, it sets a tone for your house, especially on a Saturday, especially as the weather starts to cool off and get a little cooler. You don't have any plans for the day. Maybe you're going to be in all day. Maybe you're going to be watching some football on TV or whatever you're going to be doing. It sets the tone for your house for the day. And everybody in the family kind of knows, oh, there's great food available whenever I want it. I don't have to go to mom and dad and say, hey, I'm hungry. What is there to eat? I can smell it. I know exactly where it is. If your kids are older, they can help themselves. They can go and serve themselves, tear off some bread, get some soup. It's a fantastic option for a day like that. Again, it's about experiences with your kids, with your family. It's about making things that create memories for your family just as much as it is making things that people are going to think are delicious to eat. Obviously, there's so much stuff that you can make on the grill. We'll do episodes just on our favorite things to grill.
Absolutely.
We'll come back to this. We'll have other recipe ideas. As you can tell, Clint and I love to cook. And so if you're into that, if you want to leave us your favorite thing to make for your kids or an idea, a recipe idea, leave it in the comments. We'd love to share it. with people on the podcast, we'd love to just steal it from you. And so you can
Yes.
send it directly to us. That would be fantastic. We will be back next week with more Dad Pod content for you. Until then, he's Clint and I'm Daniel, and we will see you guys next time.
See you.